Hello everybody, Pittsburgh Weiss Schwartz here. This is Brian doing a red-yellow Persona 5 deck tech today for you. I have with me Brittany, Andy, and Carmen.
Yo.
Hola.
Hi.
Alright, let's get started. So to begin, I'm going to start with the level 0. I run 4 of this free runner Morgana, 2000 power, start of your opponent's attack phase. Run to wherever in the center stage you'd like to go. Runners in general, as a profile, are super strong. They essentially read plus for free unless your opponent
Tri-field, you like a dummy.
Aggressively tri-fields you like a dummy, exactly. Along with this Morgana at level 0, I run 3 copies of this Futaba. On play, top check. If it's a thief character, put it underneath as a marker. Or I guess you may put it underneath as a marker. If it has a marker underneath it, it gets 1500 power and a level. Both of these cards together essentially read U+ at level 0.
Yeah, the Futaba profile is super strong.
For sure. At level 0, I guess one of the weaknesses of P5 is that its best Brainstormer is a Rest 2 Brainstorm, so I only run 3 of this protagonist, the Will of Rebellion Joker. His other effect is when you use an act ability, you can choose one of your characters and give it 500 power. I run a couple backups in this list to capitalize on that. Additionally, you can also give power when he uses his Brainstorm. Closing out the lineup at level 0, we have 4 copies of Ryuji It's a Deal. This is a key card in the deck. On play, it lets you ditch a card from your hand and salvage one of these calling cards, which I run 4 of. I'll explain in a minute from the waiting room. Lastly, I run 2 copies of this On. She gives global 500 power while she's in play. And when one of your characters lands a direct attack, you can pay 1, salvage a thief character from your waiting room, so long as your opponent has a face-down card in their memory to discard. That synergizes with calling card as well, which I will explain now leading into level 1.
Alright, so how many level 0s is that?
It should be 16 level 0s, yep.
Okay.
16 level 0s total. So starting off at level 1, I should explain calling card. 4 copies clearly. One of the best cards in the deck. 1/0 yellow event. On play, you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, choose a thief character, put it into your hand. This event goes to memory. If your opponent doesn't have a face down card in their memory, they choose a card from their hand, put it face down into memory, and draw a card. That is where the On gains the ability to, or it activates On's ability to discard a card from your opponent's memory face down to salvage a character. And last but not least, it allows you to bounce one of your opponent's cost 0 or lower characters from the field to their hand. All in all, this card is super versatile and allows you to, along with the Ryuji that salvages it, to mill through your deck at will and find whatever piece of your combo, or really just any card in particular aside from other events that you're looking for.
Does the calling card go to memory too?
The calling card itself does not go to memory. The calling card, as an event, goes to waiting room.
Oh, and their card goes
and
to
their
memory.
card from their hand goes to memory.
And then they draw, and then they can use the On to like pop it out of their memory and salvage.
At level 1, I run 4 copies of this Ryuji. He's a 1/0 4500, gets 500 power for all of your other thieves. With a full field, he goes up to 65. With the On board, he goes up to 7. The idea here is to hold board for the early playing the level 1, level 2 Joker combo, which I will explain in a moment. And then I run 2 copies of this 1/0 Morgana backup to capitalize on the power boost.
And that's just a 2k costless.
2k costless backup to capitalize with the power boost from the Joker Brainstorm.
Yeah.
So level 1. Moving on to level 2. This card is effectively a level 1. 4 copies of this protagonist as Joker all out attack. It can be early played at level 1 if you have 4 other thieves on the board. And it has a climax combo with The Show Is Over. Wind climax.
It's over.
It is over.
Is that wind?
It is
1k1 wind? Okay.
Yeah. On reverse, he allows you to draw a card and search your deck for a level 1 or lower thief character, which is to as strong as a plus it is counterbalancing the fact that you have to expend so many resources in order to fill your board at level 1 to early play him. Also at level 2, I run 2 copies of Protagonist, Prisoner of Fate. During your turn, this card is, well, this is a back row card. During your turn, it gives 1,000 power to characters in front of it for each level that they have. And it also gives 500 power to the Joker finisher of the deck. And also allows that Joker finisher on reverse to look at the top card of your deck and keep it there or put it on the bottom, which sets up for his effect quite nicely. Lastly, at level 2, I run this free fresh backup. Worst case, it's a 2/1 2500 power backup that synergizes with the act bonus from the Brainstorm. It can also get you out of sticky situations with its pay 2 free fresh effect, though a lot of the time that won't be necessary because Calling Card can mill through your deck for you and get you there.
What's the cost on the free fresh?
2.
I believe it's 2.
Okay,
It's
so
2, yeah.
additional 2 on top of the back. Okay.
It's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Moving on to the level 3 game. I run 2 copies of this Morgana. Early plays with 2 or fewer climaxes in waiting room, heals on play, and swing when it swings. If you have another thief on board, it gets 2,000 power. So it swings for 11.5. It's a standard early play healer for your game plan. Normally as a card profile in this deck, I don't particularly care for it, but the fact that it's a healer is beneficial, and having multiple cards of higher levels to trigger off of the Joker effect, which I'll explain in a minute, is almost a necessity.
I think it's pretty cool too. Like with the level, the 2/1 Joker you put behind it, it gets up to like what, 14,000?
Yeah.
The Morgana goes up to
It's like up 3,000, right?
14k, 15,000 if you have the level 500 from the on as well. Yeah. So moving on to the Joker itself, the golden boy of the deck. He gets 500 power for each of your other thief characters. He heals on play himself, which almost makes the Morgana unnecessary, except for the fact that it's a level 3 that exists in the deck as well. And his best effect, the effect that the deck this card is run for, allows him, at the start of your encore step, if all of the slots in your opponent's center stage are empty or reversed, you can pay 3 and ditch a thief character from your hand. And if you do, you look at the top card of your deck 3 times, it goes to the bottom each time, and burn your opponent for the level of each card.
It's pretty good.
It is very good, yeah.
And it's climaxless, so it's high cost climaxless, very destructive finisher. And then you have all those ways to buff power with the Joker back row to just sort of ensure that you're gonna set up and reverse their board.
Yeah.
And that's where Joker reverse comes from.
Exactly, yep. Something to note is that a lot of people like the other level 1 combo in Persona, the level 1 Morgana combo. I personally prefer this Joker combo solely due to the fact that it itself is a level 2 and burns for more damage if you hit it with the Joker.
2 is just a lot better of a number to like swing for on last deck.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you can hit 2 3 times. I run so many level 2s, level 3s in this deck.
Yeah.
Last but not least, my level 3 combo, I run the Ryuji. He on play is a look at the top 3 cards, choose 1 card from among them, add it to your hand. So he himself digs for his climax. Freaking boring.
Stoxel.
A yellow Stoxel. And I do quite enjoy Stoxels.
Yeah, we know, Brian.
His other effect, when the climax comes down, you can ditch a card from your hand. Is it a card or a thief? It's just a card. So you can ditch climaxes out of your hand as well. When you do that, you are able to choose one of your opponent's characters, bounce it to their hand, choose one of your characters, and that character gets on cancel burn 1, in addition to 1,000 power. So the reason I run this over the on combo, which is also commonly seen in P5 decks, is him bouncing characters is extremely invaluable for the Joker effect to get off, especially if your opponent is walling at level 3. with something like Orisa or Emilia, some sort of Neg Soul Wall, or some sort of...
the upcoming Priestess Wall.
Yeah, or Priestess and Goblin Slayer, exactly. So, all in all, the game plan of the deck revolves around stalling as much as you can until level 3 and building your resources, then dropping 2 Ryujis and a Joker, and going to town, hopefully landing big damage with the Joker effect.
So how many instances of damage is that? That's 3 attacks.
3 attacks and
threatening 2 on-cancel ping 1s.
And
then
potential 3 burns from Joker.
3 burns from Joker, yeah. Like, and then, God forbid, you have enough resources to play 2 Jokers and 1 Ryuji.
Another thing to note with Joker is his effect, the Joker reverse can be activated from the back row. He doesn't specify on the card that he needs to be in the center stage for the effect to activate. So if you really wanted, you could have 2 Jokers in the back row and triple Ryuji.
And then just bounce their whole field.
Bounce their whole field, and if you have 6 stock and 2 thieves to discard, your opponent is more than likely dead.
You only need, like, what, 13 cards in your stock and...
2, 4, 6...
Well, no, and you have to end with 1 level 3 in deck, so you look at the 1 level 3 and it goes to the bottom every time.
Yeah, it does.
So you burn 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3.
So, nutty finisher here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16 stock, and 5 cards in hand, not counting these that you play. That's...
I think I saw a meme once where it was like, when your opponent moves the climax, when you think you survived and your opponent moves the climax to reveal 2 Jokers in the back row, and then you lose. But yeah, no, seems super solid. The best deck in the meta, right?
Yeah.
The top S tier deck, Persona 5.
Speaking of best in the meta, some decks like to run this cat bus card,
Oh, the cat bus. We love the cat bus.
which acts itself as a hard counter to one of the strongest decks in the meta, Konosuba, which I will be talking about in a future video.
But-
Dream too, right?
Yeah, I mean, anything that needs characters to be on the board.
Exactly, yeah.
Because what is it? It's like pay 2, pitch a card. Everything gets markered under it.
Yeah, at the start of your opponent's main phase, you pay 2, pitch 2, put all of your characters on the board underneath it as markers. And then at the start of your opponent's attack phase, it can run to the back row.
That's awesome.
Then at the start of your turn, everybody gets back out of the car.
Yeah.
So this is a strong tag card to consider if the meta you're playing in has a lot of combos that require reverses or are Megumin.
It just seems so trolly, but it's actually so good.
It is. It's definitely a one of to consider for sure.
Yeah. So I think the only question I had about your list, Brian, is when we're talking about zeros.
Yes.
Why only 3 Futabas and 4 runners? Why not the other way around? That was my only real question.
In this particular list, I was running 4 runners solely due to the fact that my deck is primarily yellow, and
you need the red fix.
And I wanted a red fix. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Normally, if I were running the on build that was running a little bit heavier on red, I would definitely run 4 Futabas. I love this card so much.
Mm-hmm. And these are your level 1s. And then I was thinking the only other thing, which I know people will ask, I know you like this card, but other people love the marker flippers.
I personally prefer the marker flippers. I just don't have room for them in this list.
Yeah, they always seem hard. Every time I've tried to build Red Yellow Persona 5, it seems really hard to fit them in and still run, what is it, the show is over combo.
Yeah, previously I was running the marker flipper combo, but I was running them in the place of backups. They were taking my backup slots.
Oh, okay. So
and that I found was an extreme problem, so I cut back a little bit. And this has worked pretty well for me so far. If you can somehow make room in your list for the marker flipper combo, definitely do so. I definitely prefer it to this, especially since they just sit at 7k against monocolor decks.
But
in this particular list, that is mostly yellow and doesn't have a lot of extra space, I run this. It sits at 7K with the on in the back row and a full field, so it does its job well enough, I think.
And then you back up to 9 or 9.5 with the brainstorm,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
Which I think is fine.
Yeah, I think, well, especially if you're really planning to play the 2-1 combo every game, like you're just trying to wait really one turn, kinda. You're like your second level 1 turn, because you prioritize fixing with calling card and waiting a turn and then playing out your 2-1.
Yeah, I guess the only reason to run the level 1 Morgana combo over this 2-1 Joker combo, this combo is on reverse. The Morgana combo is on attack.
Okay. All right.
So this loses to AOT, to Batman Ninja, to
Batman Ninja.
to any set that can hard deny your reverses, while Morgana can plus on any.
What is
on any
Morgana
board.
again? Is Morgana just Maguro?
Morgana is a 1-0 climax combo with a gate. On attack, top check. If it's a thief, put it to hand.
Okay, yeah. So it's just top checked add.
Yeah.
It seems like Persona, you'd want to be a little bit more selective, right? In general.
You definitely do. I mean, his selectivity isn't great either, though. He searches your deck for a level 1.
It just seems like your zeros don't have the turn a card into, because you're not running the drop searcher, so you don't have a real way to turn a card into the card you want a lot of the time.
That is Ryuji and calling card's job.
Okay, yeah. So you're counting on those 4 to be something in those 4 to be something you want, or at least be able to loop it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time you can play Ryuji, salvage calling card, play calling card, get another Ryuji.
Yeah, just keep going.
Discard a card, get the calling card back, play the calling card.
Super good deck manipulation.
Yeah, loop through your entire deck. Always have a good deck state, assuming your deck is running well, which my deck does most of the time, but not always.
All right, guys. Well,
Yeah,
I think, is there anything else left, Brian, you want to talk about?
I think I talked about most of it. I think that's it.
I had a question.
Yes.
So at your level 1,
Yes.
why don't you run the Change Joker?
We just talked about
about
it.
it.
Yeah. We were helping somebody out. Yeah.
Yeah, the main reason I mentioned is that it takes up too many slots, and previously I was running it, but it was taking up my
Because you want to hit
backup slots.
3 of each, right? To consistently field 2 of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that takes up 6 slots, and I don't have those extra 2 slots in this deck, so I just run 4 of this Ryuji that sits at 7 instead.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Because most of the time your board will be full at level 1 to early play your Joker anyway. So, yeah, that's about it for P5.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. As we say all the time, we're trying to get more and more deck techs out, so please let us know. Drop a like, drop a comment, let us know what you want to see next.
Exactly.
Pittsburgh White Schwartz signing off.